Hello, welcome to Stage Makeup by Kyla. Today is corrective. As with every makeup, start by washing your hands, washing your face, get your hair out of your way. When we say corrective makeup, what are we correcting? Is there something wrong with you that you need to correct? The answer is no. There's nothing wrong with you. Sometimes this makeup is also called straight makeup. You could guess why I'm not interested in calling it that. It's also sometimes called basic makeup, and in contemporary slang, basic has just as negative a connotation as straight, so let's not call it that either. So it seems to me as if right now corrective is the most accurate title. I'm gonna keep talking while I do base. Actually, toner and then base. So I've gotten my hair out of my face, I'm putting toner to close my pores so that these heavy cream makeups won't clog my pores and make me break out. What are we correcting? You're correcting the fact that when you go on stage, under stage lights, the lights wash you out. And instead of looking like a human with human features like eyes, and a nose, and a mouth, and a jaw, you just look like a blob of light. If you're fair-skinned, you look like a blob of white light. If you have darker skin tones, you either look invisible because you blend into the background, or you look like a blob of brown light. So corrective makeup is correcting the fact that the lights on stage make you look less human. So you're adding back in human features. For the base color, choose a color that's close to your natural skin tone. Maybe that color exists, maybe you're mixing it. This can be done with the Ben Nye Cream Makeup Kit or the Kryolan Super Color Kits. For me, I'm gonna do a mix of these two. Maybe this one as well. I think that's where my complexion is right now. Oh, and research images. For research images, find people with a complexion similar to yours. These are probably easy to find, especially if you're looking in magazines or on the internet. People that have a complexion similar to yours, that have their features accentuated. Their eyebrows, their eyes, their face. Base color. Great. All right. As you put on your base, make sure that it's smooth and even and everywhere where you're going to be putting makeup. Over your eyelids, over your nose. You could use a brush to add the base, or you could use a sponge. You want a smooth coverage with no evidence of brush strokes. And the reason that you want it everywhere that you're going to put makeup is so that you have something to blend into. If you're watching these videos in the sequence of class, the first one is stout, adding width to the face. The second one is lean, removing width from the face, making the face longer and leaner. The highlight and shadow positions for corrective might incorporate parts of those looks, depending on how you want to accentuate the features of your face. I'm going to start with highlight. So using a lighter color than your base, the highlight positions for this are the outsides of the forehead. This is similar to lean, but you're not going to make the forehead as exaggerated as lean. The center of the nose. If you have a bump on your nose, or if you want to make it look like you have a bump on your nose, now's the time to either accentuate it or hide it. If you want to make your nose look longer, extend this highlight to the tip of the nose. If you want to make your nose look shorter, put shadow across the tip of the nose. If you want to make your nose look wider, you can widen this highlight position. If you want to make it look more narrow, you can make the highlight position more narrow. For the eyelids, place highlight in a circle in the center where the pupil is if the eye was closed. If the eye was open, where the pupil is. We're going to do a few things to accentuate the eyes. This is the first one, to add to the look of the eyes being sunken into the face. The next highlight position is the top of the cheekbones. This is similar to with extreme lean, but not as exaggerated. So feeling where your cheekbones are and painting highlight in a diagonal line on top. A diagonal line from the hairline towards the mouth, depending on how long your face is. Maybe it's a half an inch, maybe it's an inch. The next highlight position is the jaw. You could change your jaw into any shape that you desire, as long as you add highlight and shadow to emphasize that you are a human with a jaw separate from your neck. For me, I'm going to add the highlight in a diagonal line from my ear to my chin, putting it right over this sagging skin just to de-emphasize it. Other highlight positions. If your face is in any way asymmetrical and you want to adjust that with these highlight and shadow positions, you may. You may also just accept or accentuate the asymmetry of your face. Either way is fine. Happy with those highlight positions, I'm going to add the shadow positions. I'm going to use a 1/2 inch brush as well. I'm going to put a lighter shadow on the sides of the forehead than we did with extreme lean, because we don't want it to look exaggerated, but we do want it to look defined. So instead of being just a blob of color, I'm a person, a human with a forehead. So this shadow is on the side of the plane of the face of the forehead. I'm going to shadow around the eye sockets so that the eyes look sunken into the face. I'm going to shadow the sides of the nose, on the outside of that highlight position, and blending down on the side of the nose into where the nose connects to the face. I'm going to shadow under the cheekbones, leaving space where the base is between the highlight. It's not as dark or as sharp at the edge as extreme lean. It's just adding dimension to the face. I'm going to shadow under where I put the highlight for the jaw. If you want to change the shape of your jaw in any way, in fact, actually, now that I think of it, one thing I haven't demonstrated yet is if you have a cleft chin. Like Gaston in Beauty and the Beast. If you don't have a cleft chin, you can make it look like you do with makeup. By drawing that shadow position. Sides of the nose, around the eyes, the temples. Now it's time to blend. I'm going to go back with the wider acrylic paintbrush and blur the edges, maintaining the brightest highlight in the center of the highlight, the darkest shadow in the center of the shadow, but blending the edges into the base so that it looks smooth and less angular. Clear to see right here, it's still an apparent brush stroke. I'm going to blend that brush stroke into the base. Still looks kind of streaky, stripy here, blending the edges. This is clearly still a stripe, blending that highlight stripe into the base. When I blend the jaw shadow down, I'm going to add a little bit more shadow so that it goes from the line where I've drawn the shadow, gradually fading from the shadow color to the base color, making the neck look like it's separate from the face, or making the face look like it's separate from the neck. Is the light too bright? For the other videos, I was working with natural light. This one I've got hard to tell. Hard to tell. There you go. It looks subtle, and it's intended to look more subtle than the other ones. Great. So that's the highlight and shadow positions. The sides of the temples for the shadow, the sides of the temples, around the eye sockets, the side of the nose, under the cheekbone, drawing the jaw. That's it. For the highlights, side of the forehead, center of the nose, center of the eyeball, top of the jaw, top of the cheekbone. Ta-da! Highlight and shadow. Next, let's start emphasizing some features. To emphasize the eyes, you can use the brown pencil and draw a line right on top of the eyelid at the point where the eye connects to the lashes. This will help make your eyes look bigger. Same on both sides. If you've never worked with an eyeliner pencil before, it takes a lot of practice. Another trick to make your eyes look bigger is you can use the white cream color on the flat side of a paintbrush, a clean paintbrush, and line the water line. This part of your eyelid right next to your eyeball on the bottom side where above the root of your eyelashes. See how this eye looks bigger and more open than this one? If you have a white eyeliner pencil, you can use that in the same way. This one is by NYX. It's probably $3 at Target. Maybe $4. You don't have to. You don't have to buy anything beyond the base kit. But if you have it, then use it. This is really hard too. If you don't have practice doing this, it takes a lot of practice and patience and carefully breathing through your mouth to keep your eyes open. I just saw that on my chin and I thought, what is that? It's my cleft chin. All right. Another thing you can do to add emphasis to your eyes and to help your character on stage be more expressive is to add some pencil onto your eyebrows. If you already naturally have really dark eyebrows, you might be able to skip this step. My eyebrows are light at the ends, so adding it really helps. The more emphasis around your eyes, the more your character on stage is going to be able to make facial expressions and help communicate facial expressions help to communicate expressions. Eyebrows are very flexible too. If you want to draw on your eyebrows even thicker and make them thicker and bushier, you can. Eyebrows are something that kind of change with the tides. There's different trends of eyebrows, so consider that too as you're designing your character. What time period is this show set in? Is it the early 2000s, and should the eyebrows be really thin? Or is it 2019, and should the eyebrows be really carefully well-groomed and kind of thicker? Something to think about. All right, lips. You can utilize either technique from stout or lean to either add or subtract width from the lips. Up to you. And you can mix colors to come close to your natural lip color. If your lips are brown, use brown. If they're a mix of brown and pink, use a mix. Mine are naturally pink. And I'm going to go in between the stout and lean techniques. I'm going to draw my lips on right where my actual lips are, not wider or more narrow. The stage makeup textbook that I recommend for use in this class talks about clear mascara as an option to continue to add emphasis to your eyes. I've yet to have much luck with clear mascara, but it's something you might experiment with. Oh, this kind of goes along with corrective as far as perceived flaws that you might want to correct that I just thought of when I caught a glimpse of myself. I have these deep indentations here that have just happened naturally with time, but it's my preference to try and hide them. So I'm going to put a mix of highlight colors that are lighter than my base, right where those indentations become darker. And carefully blending that out into the base so that it doesn't look like a stripe, but so that it conceals the indentation. Many people naturally have dark circles under their eyes. You can cover this in the same way. This is what the beauty product sold as concealer is sold as, to conceal things like this. You could also conceal blemishes if you have zits. You could cover them up with concealer or with highlight colors, essentially. I look more youthful, more well-rested, more awake. All right, and that's essentially it. I'm ready to go out on stage and be a human who has a nose and eyes and eyebrows and cheeks and a jaw and lips. To go beyond this, often on stage, as in real life, in addition to performing simply being a human, we're also performing cultural norms of gender. In many ways, for many different characters. There's another video on how to apply facial hair to make it look like there's facial hair growing out of your face. So that's one way to express what we've accepted in our culture as masculinity. And every character is different. If there's a character in a show who needs to look androgynous, this is the makeup look. If there's a character in a show who needs to look like they have put on a lot of beauty makeup, then you could go further than this look. Or even if it's a character in a show who just needs to look what we have socially decided is the feminine ideal for performing femininity in 2020. And these things are always changing too, as you look through your makeup research and find how people presented femininity and masculinity in different times. They're different at many different times in history. All that being said, I guess the other thing I want to say is that gender is a social construct. We invented it as a culture, and we continue to perform it in different ways and express it in different ways, both in real life and on stage. I'm interested in having a discussion about this. I'm also accustomed to teaching stage makeup in person, where I can have a dialogue with people around me, so it feels strange to just be making a video by myself. I'm interested in a dialogue about gender and femininity and masculinity and how we express those things. And the next thing that I have to add is adding layers onto this level of corrective makeup to fit into a more culturally accepted performance of femininity. Starting with the eyebrows. So a current trend for performing feminine qualities in 2020 is to have really shapely eyebrows. So you can add more to the shape of the eyebrows, you could darken the eyebrows, you can widen them at the center. You could do all this with the pencil and taper it to the end. This also gets into the expression of character too. If the character is someone who is a villain, maybe the eyebrows need to look more arched. If you have products in your kit, or if you want to experiment with more products, this is going to look uneven, but here we go. There's a lot of eyebrow products out there. This is Benefit 3D Brow Tones. I probably got it at TJ Maxx. Brush. It adds thickness to your eyebrow. You can brush it onto your existing eyebrow. Looks similar to the one I drew. Brows. Accentuating the shape of the eyes. You can incorporate loose powder and pressed powder eyeshadow on top of the cream color. Just set the cream color with powder first. For me, from here, I'm just going to continue with the cream color. So one way to make your eyes look bigger is to add highlight near the tear duct. And this can look very exaggerated up close, but from stage, it'll just help to make the eyes look bigger. And then with the shadow, add more shadow and darker shadow on the outer edge of the eyelid into the crease of the eyelid. If your character is a person who is wearing eyeshadow, you might experiment with colors. If you want it to look like they're a person wearing makeup, you could do green or blue eyeshadow. If you have blue eyes, to make your eyes look, to accentuate your eyes even further, you could use rust orange or copper colored eyeshadow. For the lips, if you want to look like a character who is wearing lipstick, you can darken them with red or with the red pencil that came with the kit, or perhaps another color. Lashes. Another way to add to a really expressive face is by adding false eyelashes. If you don't have them, don't sweat it. It's not required for this project. But if you want to experiment with false eyelashes, I'm going to tell you what I know about